Over the past 50 years, the Soviet Union and then Russia have built an extensive network of gas pipelines. In addition to the direct goal of generating revenues from fuel exports, Moscow pursued an indirect but obvious goal of making European countries dependent on Kremlin's policies. Gas blackmail was often used by the Russian authorities to achieve foreign policy objectives. After all, before Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the Federation accounted for about 40% of total gas imports to the EU countries. Later, it turned out that the Kremlin had outplayed itself. Having lost a significant part of the European market due to sanctions, Russia is forced to sell gas to China at an undervalued price.
If this used to be the Kremlin's favorite method, now this method has turned directly against Russia. For better understanding, look at the year before the full-scale invasion as a baseline. Russia exported 240 billion cubic meters of gas, of which 186 went to European countries. As of today, gas consumption in Europe has significantly decreased. Yes, there is consumption from Austria, Italy, Hungary, Serbia and Moldova, in particular the internationally unrecognized Transnistria.
Compared to last year, the level of gas production in the Federation has dropped by almost a quarter. The math is simple. As demand drops, so do revenues.
Gazprom has suffered losses of more than 1 trillion rubles, so the figures speak for themselves, and now very desperate attempts were made by Russia to replace the European natural gas market with Chinese market. But we see that these attempts have not succeeded. The last summit meeting in Beijing, it showed that Xi Jinping rejects such a proposal.
The Russian gas production industry is facing another blow. Ukraine's Naftogaz has no plans to extend the contract on fuel transit to European countries. So far, the process has not been stopped so that the EU countries could prepare for winter, and the transition from gas consumption from Russia to alternative markets was gradual and painless.
We are committed to making it happen as soon and as quickly as possible, even sooner than this deadline, and we see that certain processes have already taken place. The reduction is going on every month, but we have to accelerate that process and incentivize that. As far as this contract is concerned, we must also be a reliable partner for our European allies, for the countries that need it. But this agreement will be finalized by the end of 2024, and we have no intentions or initiatives to extend it. Oleksiy Chernyshev, CEO of Naftogaz, in an interview with Radio Liberty. Well, let's do a rough calculation. This year, Gazprom will pump about 13 billion cubic meters of natural gas through the Ukrainian gas transmission system, about 13 to 14 approximately. If we take the average price of Russian gas in Europe, it is 4 to 4,500 euros per 1,000 cubic meters. That way, roughly speaking, Gazprom may lose more than 6 billion euros annually. That's how big is the loss.
Europe rejecting Russian resources is the strongest blow to the aggressor's economy. In more than a year and a half of Russia's full-scale aggression against Ukraine, EU countries have made a breakthrough in diversifying supplies. However, a lot still needs to be done.
Russia's biggest loses the energy sector, but on the other hand, we have to realize that gas is not the key item of Russia's exports. They also have the export of crude oil products, and it's the crude gas export that contributes the most. What is also important is that Russia's liquefied gas export capacity is quite limited. It, of course, has plans to increase these capacities. These plans will be disrupted to a certain extent by broken ties with European countries, sanctions and difficulties in obtaining the relevant equipment.
Despite limited capacity, Russia continues to export liquefied natural gas to Europe. From January to September 2023, European countries imported almost as much Russian liquefied natural gas as in the same period of time last year. Spain, Belgium and France increased their imports of Federation's fuel. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Larisa Zubenko, UATV News.